Molly's Game is the directorial debut of Aaron Sorkin. He's known for writing a lot of movies and television, but this will be his first directed movie. It's about Molly Bloom. She's an ex-skier athlete. The movie showcases her downfall from that career and immediately jumps to the present in which she's arrested by the FBI. She used to run poker games, so she's being indicted because of some mafia people that were involved in those games. So the movie leaps back and forth with flashbacks about leading up to that. So she moves to Los Angeles so she can have a fresh start. She's living on a friend's couch. She works at a club doing drinks. And she gets invited to be Dean Keith's assistant. He's like this big douchebag, fast talker, construction owning business guy or something. And she basically has to do everything he wants, 24/7 on call, pick up bagels, do this. And she ends up running a poker game for him, and she does a good job, and he says tip her on the way out. She makes $3,000 within one night, and she enjoys it. So she gets better at it. She starts learning what poker is, being a good host, buying nicer clothes, nicer car with all the money she's making, and she decides to keep putting off law school because she's making a lot of money and she's, having fun. Until Dean Keith decides to want to stop paying her for being an assistant and just pay her for the poker games. So she finds her way on her way out, so she steals his contacts and makes her own poker game. So at the poker game, there's a lot of different types, though. There's movie stars, there's directors, there's athletes and rock stars, and one of them is Player X, played by Michael Cera. Not Michael Cera in real life, but he's like a sociopath that likes to beat other people just because it's fun. And the movie does a really good job of explaining why people like poker. There are people that like to win money. There are people that like to get that hard win, because when you're like a famous actor and you have so much money, beating someone on an evil level playing field feels great. You have to earn that when you can't buy your way in. So that's why some people get an edge with poker. And the movie does a really good job with the psychology of gambling and all that stuff, and getting you interested in more of the flashback scenes than the present day scenes. In the present day scenes, Molly has to get a lawyer with no money, so she gets Idris Elba's character, and he's great, but they just have a little bit of verbal sparring. They don't do a lot in the present day. It's not as compelling as the flashbacks. The flashbacks ramp it up a bit when Molly has a falling out with Player X, and she has to go to New York, and she starts another game with more fish that are more expensive, things like that, different players, some people, shady people, and that's why the FBI are after in the present day. So Molly's Game is a well-acted drama film. I was compelled throughout the entire time, but the biggest weakness is that it relies way too much on voiceover. The whole film opens up in voiceover. They use voiceover throughout the entire film. Sometimes it needs to let the movie breathe and let some of the actors shine, but doesn't let them sometimes. Sometimes they cut off by more voiceover, so even the climax is full of voiceover. And I found it very irritating, even though, I like Jessica Chastain, but, show don't tell. Sorkin seems to be indulging a lot because he's also the director of this film. So I feel that he got free reign and he can do whatever he wants. So that's why he's like, more voiceover. And they definitely need to step back on that. So the film's best strengths are going to be the scenes where there isn't any voiceover, like Kevin Costner and Jessica Chastain's scenes, and some of the poker scenes. But other than that, Molly's Game it's a fine movie. It's not great. I feel like the present day scenes aren't compelling enough. Too much voiceover, even though the acting's fine. The subject matter is great, though. It's a very interesting story. So I'm gonna have to give Molly's Game a 6.5 out of 10.